What's up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, for being subscribed. If you're not, go ahead and hit that button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like button. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into this conversation. I find it very comical, a little bit ironic, but honestly not surprising. I did not listen to the entirety of youngjeezy or Jay Jenkins his interview with nialong, because listen, the fact of the matter is he is on a tour to push his product. Okay, that will be his book and his new music that he's supposed to be releasing. And the reason why I even wanted to talk about this is because, not that I'm sitting here caping for his soon-to-be ex-wife that he filed for divorce from, because I'm not even going to say that she's a victim, because the truth is she got with a man that was extremely flawed. And listen, I'm not here to say that any person is perfect, okay? But she got with a person that was extremely flawed, and she really didn't, in my personal opinion, do her due diligence when it comes to being involved so heavily with someone like this. And in my opinion, she might have been right about that statement that she made about, the white keeping her lean and mean and keeping her dark meat on the side. And I'm saying that for her. I'm not here to say that for me or anyone else, or to say that she was right in terms of that statement for every single person. But for her, she might have been spot on, because the black man that she chose to get with was, in my opinion, trash. He already had a track record of broken relationships, not really being a stand-up man. And when I first talked about this divorce that was filed and the news breaking that he filed for divorce from Jeannie and that she may have been blindsided or whatever, when I first came out here to speak about it and to share my opinions on the situation, I said that I felt like he used her as a come up. And then there were people who were not agreeing with me, which is fine. Everyone doesn't have to agree with my opinion about things, but they didn't feel that her being with him for him was a come up. It was a come up for her. But let's just be real. Her being with him gave him crossover appeal, because I didn't watch the View. I didn't watch the show that she was a co-host on. Really, I saw clips of it here and there. But from what I saw, he came on that show after being in a relationship with her. He came on that show multiple times. You can't tell me that majority, let's just say, even though the viewers of The Real may not have been the same type of viewers of The View, if you will, or The Talk, where maybe a little bit more older women watching that show, but that show was something that definitely gave him crossover appeal, or maybe not even so much appeal, but it definitely put him in the views and the eyes of people that really didn't pay him much attention, that never would have listened to his music, never would have even known who he was. He was primarily in the African American community, although that wasn't really what his preference was when it comes to dating, but that's neither here nor there. I'm basically saying that now, with him doing this interview with nialong, I find this just as something that he is doing to sell his books and sell his products, because the majority of the people that would buy his music, I'm not saying that, we already know that a lot of Caucasian people definitely do purchase that type of music, listen to it, but his music, probably not, okay? But him, in the genre that he's in, the majority of the people that would purchase his stuff are the people that mainly look like him, right? So to do this interview with nialong, I feel like he did this. It was definitely on purpose and by design.
therapist always says, take care of little Nia. Mm-hmm. So when you see this photo of yourself, what feelings do you have?
My grandmother was very religious. Mm-hmm. She made me go to church and Sunday school and Easter speeches and all that. I didn't realize it then. I just went because I was supposed to be going.
Yeah.
Right? But it came to some points in my life where things just happened that was so real that there was nowhere else to go but with God.
What was the activation moment of trauma for you?
I think there was several things. I think that the first was being left with a babysitter. There was a woman that was older than me. That was older, mm-hmm. and her, touching and doing things to me that don't normally happen to kids. Right?
Like molesting.
Right, basically. Yeah. So I was introduced to sex at a very young age. Yeah. Second thing was that I had this lady that lived next door to us in an apartment. She was married to this guy. They had 2 kids. Yeah. And he was around my age, and I used to hang out with him. And I was there one day, and I remember like it was yesterday. They got into an argument.
Yeah.
And me and the little boys was playing in the room, and I heard them, and I heard that saying before, you wait till I get back. I'll be right back. And I kind of looked at the boys. I'm like, yo, and sure enough, he came running upstairs, and he went in the closet, right? Mm-hmm. And when he was going in the closet, he was fumbling through the closet, and I saw it when he pulled it out. It was like a big, had to be like a silver 357.
Oh,
and
my God.
I looked at them, and I immediately was like, yo, we got to hide.
Yeah. But why did you know to hide?
Because I had been around that before growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and climbed under the sink mm-hmm. in the bathroom and hid. Mm-hmm. And I heard some yelling, and all I heard was pow, pow, pow.
He killed the wife?
He didn't kill her. He shot her like 4 times.
Oh, my God.
Right? And he ran, left us there. My mom and dad came looking for me. Eventually, they found me under the sink when the police and everything was there. But I just, they just stuck with me, right? Mm. And before I was 8, mm-hmm. I had already accepted this is the norm, right? I was already desensitized. And
at 8 years old?
Yeah, I was already thinking like, okay, this is what life is. And it gave me this thing to always protect myself.
All right, so you heard a little bit of that. I'm not going to play much more. If you want to go and listen to it, you can find it. I'm not even going to put the link to it in the description box. But I want to share with you guys some of the comments because this is what the goal was. And listen, what he shared that he experienced was just a few little things that he shared right there. And obviously, he's gone through a lot in his life. But I don't feel sorry for him because when people like him come out and they write these books to sell their stories and to gain the sympathies of people, but you're hurting other people in the process, I don't care what people have to say about her. He made a vow and made a commitment to his wife. I don't want to hear the things about, she wouldn't submit when she promised that she would, or she's a feisty, woman and he was expecting a different type of woman, or she had her mom and her brother come to live with them and he couldn't take it and whatever. You know what I mean? I was about to say something. I'm not going to say it. I had to hold myself back for a moment. Because a man is not supposed to be controlling of a woman. But when you make the decision to commit to someone in marriage, you don't just make a vow to that person, but you also make a vow to God. And that's one of the reasons why it pisses me off when I hear a lot of people talk about marriage, or when I see people get into marriages that they really shouldn't have been in the first place, because they really didn't know the seriousness of what they were doing when they made that vow to commit to that person, for better or for worse, for richer or poor. I'm not talking about extreme cases when people are being abused and all that other stuff. That goes out the window, right? Because then at that point, this person is a monster and you need to save your life. So I'm not talking about that. But stuff like this, where you could have real conversations with your spouse to say, look, we have to agree that, look, I know you love your mom, but she cannot live with us. You can get her an apartment in the next neighborhood or community or whatever, and you can go and visit her anytime. But, I'm just basically saying things like this. He has moved this woman to Atlanta. They had a child together. I don't know if she got pregnant before or after they got married. I really don't know. But either way, you're now making her a single mother, like the other ones that you already made, but you did not marry. I think he was engaged before, but didn't marry. You know what I mean? And who knows? I don't know if he broke up with her or that person broke up with him, because it doesn't always have to be the guy calling it off. But when you have the type of life that you have been granted access to so much money, I'm not saying that he has never seen a therapist, so that's not what I'm saying. But I believe that there are different things that you could do to really get the help for this trauma that you've talked about experiencing in your life, but you're going to put someone else through a traumatic experience. Granted, it may not be this person hearing someone get SHOT or, almost losing their life in the next room. But I'm quite sure that she didn't get married to this man thinking that in a couple of years they were going to get divorced and then she was going to be fighting for custody of her child. You know what I mean? No one wants to go through stuff like that at all. So for him to sit on this couch, have a conversation with Nia Long, to make himself out to be this victim of trauma, which, yeah, he went through some stuff, but there are other things that you could do to get the assistance and the help and the support that you may need, versus writing a book to profit off of it and to sit across from Nia Long and have a conversation with her where you're going to get people, mainly women, in their emotions and feelings and get them thinking something different about you than they really should be thinking. I want to share some of the comments. Someone says, man, this discussion was way better than I thought it was going to be. If all Black men and women could talk to each other like this, our families would be unbreakable. While that may be a true statement, he doesn't even live that type of life. This is something that he's doing for profit, because at this point in time, as I speak about this interview has gotten 1.2 million views on his YouTube channel. So he's getting paid and he's selling his products, okay? Another one. I'm a die-hard Jeezy fan, but seeing this side of him is a breath of fresh air. Seeing a Black man raised in such harsh conditions be vulnerable is something we all need to take some notes from. Snowman emoji. Another one. And these are mainly females that are writing these comments, by the way, that I'm reading. Another one. I absolutely love this interview. No drama, bashing, etc. This shows Black power, and I learned so much from this video. I'm so happy in the midst of my storm. I'm so emotional with this video. I will do whatever it takes to keep my man safe. And listen, see, this is what I'm talking about. He's doing this to play on the emotions. And listen, no offense, ladies. I'm a female too. But women are more emotional thinkers and emotional buyers than men are. So he knows what he's doing. He's having an interview with Nia Long. We know Nia Long was wronged in her relationship that she was in with the man for a lengthy period of time, who was cheating on her. I think I didn't listen to the entirety of this interview, and I'm not going to because I'm just not interested. But I believe I heard that people are saying that he's trying to shoot a shot with Nia Long because he was making reference to real men don't cheat. And we know that Nia Long was cheated on in her relationship extremely publicly. That information came out, which was very embarrassing for her. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that he wouldn't smash if he had the opportunity, but I don't believe that he really would want to be in a true relationship with someone that looks like her. That's my personal opinion. Period. So he knows this is what the goal was, to do this. Someone else says, this is a pure example of growth. They are not talking about sex. They are not lingering on their traumas, but simply talking about progression in its true form. More conversations need to be like this. Now, that might be true that more conversations need to be like this, but this was not coming from a genuine place. Yeah, he may have been sharing his real story, but I can't get down with somebody who has very publicly embarrassed his wife, whether I care for her or not. And honestly, I don't know her to not like her. I just, she can be a bit much based on the stuff that I had seen of her over the years. So it just wasn't really my cup of tea. But yet and still, this is the woman that he chose to be in a relationship with. This is a woman that he chose to marry. They have a child together, and he publicly embarrassed her. But yet he wants to publicly be seen as the victim and to shed and shine light on the things that he went through in his life that were, traumatic, but yet and still, I don't have a problem with people getting paid for their pain, if you will, but I believe that there's a way to do it, and I just feel that this was extremely inappropriate. And so he knows that a lot of women really didn't like the way it looked when it came to how he filed for divorce, the news that came out, even more so even after the news initially broke about how things went down, and whether the women were women that looked like jeanniemai or not. A lot of women just saw him as a trash bag man who really wasn't there to commit to women in a real way. And so a lot of people were not seeing it for him, but I feel that him doing this interview was something that was meant to kind of get the spotlight off of that and how that happened, and get the spotlight on me and my trauma and what I went through and whatever. But I'm sorry, I don't really have a lot of sympathy for wealthy adults, especially celebrities, who have gone through traumatic things and they are not going through the critical, important steps to get, you may never really be healed, but to get the help that you need so that you don't in turn continue to hurt other people. And the hurt of hurting other people isn't always in the way that you experience the hurt. You may have been assaulted or, hurt physically, and those things are terrible. Not all people who were hurt in that way hurt people in that same way, but they hurt in other ways. And I believe that the way he went about doing this when it comes to his wife, soon to be ex, was just not cool. And to see the comments of people, especially women, who are like, oh, this is so amazing. I just absolutely love this. This is what I'm talking about. This is a real conversation. This is epic and will free a lot of people. Please nominate this for an award. Lil J definitely gave Lil Nia pause when he directly addressed the grown woman she is and is loved as. I felt that with my whole heart, right with her. I'm not feeling so good right now. Spoke volumes. Let's heal, Black people. One conversation at a time. Please share self-love. It's just amazing to me how people just so quickly forget people's track records. And that's like who you really are. I don't care if you sit down and have a conversation for an hour and that gets millions of views. It doesn't change who you really are. And I just am not buying it. I'm not buying his book. I don't care for his music, but I'm not buying the shenanigans when it comes to this conversation. And so it looks like he's pulled the wool over a lot of people's eyes. And hey, if they want to fall for it and buy the book, then so be it. Have at it. But I just wanted to talk about this because I really was not fooled by it in any way, shape, or form. You guys can let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section below. Guys, thank you so much for being here, liking, and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.